San Diego Beach Town Battle Royale. We're going to compare some of the best beach towns in San Diego County up and down the coast to one another. What's the good and the bad between them, the positives and negatives, which ones, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to make a call between one great beach town and another great beach town and tell you which one I prefer and for what reasons. And if that sounds like what you're looking for, if you're considering any kind of beach proximity living across San Diego County, this is the video for you, so stick with me. We're going to have some fun. We're going to get after it right now. All right, we're going to kick off round one. This is going to be a lot of fun because there are a lot of iconic beach towns up and down the coast. So it's going to be fun to watch. Lauren, hit me with the first matchup. What do we have?
We have Pacific Beach versus Mission Beach.
Pacific Beach versus Mission Beach. All right. Ooh, there's my Ricky Cruth for you guys. Look, all right, we're going Pacific Beach versus Mission Beach. Okay, I like it. So the biggest thing that strikes me just right out of the gate with these two is Mission Beach has a lot more real estate closer to the water because it has the bay to one side, the ocean to another. And so to me, it feels like a real community in some senses, though at the same time, so darn transient. Of course, when comparing to Pacific Beach, that's transient as well with so many just people that are in and out. I mean, the typical person that shows up to San Diego, say after college and moves there, and they're going to live in Pacific Beach, and then they're going to find another place to live. So kind of from a neighborhood standpoint, they both struggle with that. But I think Mission Beach, as much as it kind of has a more unique identity because it's like based off of this strand, right? This just built right off of Mission Boulevard right there, with the ocean on one side and the bay to the other, it still has like it's hard to ignore the fact that virtually every property there, I mean virtually every, I mean there's some that aren't, has some kind of vacation rental sign on it. I mean, it is, I lived in Mission Beach. I've never lived in Pacific Beach, but I would say that if you want some more permanent neighbors, you probably would want Pacific Beach. Now, having said that, I find Mission Beach to just have a cool factor to it that is just so San Diego. Like, I don't know that I've ever actually been anywhere in San Diego, and especially I remember those mornings when I would wake up and, like, I just walk outside. I was right there on the sand on the bay, and I just remember feeling, and keep in mind this was in my 20s, and feeling like, oh, wow, like this is what Southern California feels like. So from that perspective, I think it's I'd give the nod to Mission Beach from that side of it. I think, overall, Pacific Beach, you're going to have some easier access points in and out. At the end of the day, you could go access Mission Beach as well. Pacific Beach, there's also it's so much easier to just drive around the traffic, while in Mission Beach, you could just get stuck right there on Mission Boulevard. So I guess here's the verdict, okay? From a restaurant, bars, nightlife perspective, they each hold their own. Pacific Beach has a little bit more, of course, but they each hold their own. I think at the end of the day, though, if I'm thinking about where do I want to live, if I am living on the bay, on the sand, there's truly nothing like Mission Beach. If I'm living on the ocean, maybe we could say the same thing, but not for me. A lot of people, the boardwalk, it's busy, just like strangers outside my door all day. It's not for me. If you're on the bay, I'm going to give the nod to Mission Bay or to Mission Beach. If you're not, though, and that is only such a small strip, for that reason, I have to go over to Pacific Beach, give them the nod. They have La Jolla just north of them. You can slip right into Bird Rock, go enjoy all of that is La Jolla without ever even getting on the freeway. Of course, you could do that from Mission Beach as well. You're going to get stuck in some traffic. I don't love that. And it's easier to navigate, get in and out, get yourself to work, go and just do what you need to do. Overall, I am going to say, if I was made to choose, Lauren, I'm going to live in Pacific Beach with the asterisk that if I'm on the bay, I'm going with Mission Beach. But short of that, I have to give the nod in round one to PB.
All right, next up, we have Ocean Beach versus Point Loma.
Ocean Beach versus Point Loma. Well, so Ocean Beach, a lot more it's interesting because they both, when you look at the San Diego geography, and you think of especially the downtown metro area, you see that kind of big peninsula that juts out that you can see from downtown. And on the downtown side of it, that's Point Loma. On the other side of it is Ocean Beach. And it's amazing how they share this landmass, but they are so different. I mean, Ocean Beach is a lot more bohemian. There's a little more grittiness to it, and artsiness to it, grunge to it as well. And Point Loma, it's a little bit more refined. You're going to find a lot more, you might find your financial, executive over at Morgan Stanley who lives over on the Point Loma side, while more of don't get me wrong, there's extremely expensive real estate in the Ocean Beach side as well, especially in the Sunset Cliffs area. But for the most part, you have an earthier kind of person over in Ocean Beach. I'm a huge fan of the food in both locations. My favorite Italian restaurant is in Point Loma. Some of my favorite one of my favorite wing spots, for example, and I'm huge on wings, is in Ocean Beach. By the way, the Italian spot in Point Loma, if you want to check it out, it's called Cesarina, or Cesarina, people pronounce it. And the wing spot in OB being OB Noodle House. So they both have great food scene. The Point Loma side will get you out to downtown a little bit faster, which is nice if you want to go and get to downtown, get to the airport. So you have a little bit of a proximity advantage over there. Overall, if I'm made to choose, I'm going with Point Loma over Ocean Beach. And the ultimate reason why, it's a little quieter, it's a little bit more refined, and that just suits me in the way that, I might want to go to a dive bar in Ocean Beach. I might want to go there twice a week with you. But I want to not really see that outside my door. I want my living experience to be a little quieter. And given the fact that they're so close to one another, I'll take the quiet while accessing the fun of Ocean Beach and of downtown from Point Loma. That's my call. Now, remember this though. The flight path goes over both. So you do have to watch, if you're sensitive to noise, where in these two areas you're living, and make sure that you're not on the flight path. By the way, if that's something you're considering wanting to know about or wanting to make sure you avoid, make sure that you take a moment to go to the first pinned comment or the description. I've given you super easy ways to get a hold of me, and I respond to everything. So whether you're looking to move in 9 days, 9 months, 9 years, I love hearing from people like you and will help you make a smooth move. So this round, Lauren, it goes to Point Loma.
Next up, we have Imperial Beach versus Coronado.
Imperial Beach versus Coronado?
Yep.
All right, well, this is interesting. I understand the Pacific Beach, Mission Beach matchup. I understand the Ocean Beach and Point Loma matchup. Coronado and Imperial Beach couldn't be too much more different. But they also have similarities. They're both in the southern part of the county. They both have a fairly heavy military population. And from a pure proximity standpoint, they are close to one another. You can get straight into Coronado driving up the Strand out of Imperial Beach. But the similarities kind of end there. Imperial Beach, much more blue collar. Coronado, much more fancy. I mean, Coronado is one of the most expensive zip codes anywhere in the county, while Imperial Beach is one of the most up-and-coming and developing, but still not quite there, zip codes in the county. Coronado, here's where it's really going to start to kind of pull apart, Lauren. They both have a beach, but the Imperial Beach gets polluted quite often, does not deal well with storm water runoff after heavy rains, and you cannot be in that water every day of the year, while Coronado, nice, pristine, huge beach, and for the most part going to be swimmable all year long. So, right there, Coronado has an edge. From a food and restaurant standpoint, they can hold their own, each of them. Coronado traditionally would have crushed Imperial Beach in this case, but Imperial Beach has been improving. But still, the restaurant scene up and down Orange Avenue, plus what you see just off the Coronado Bridge when you just land and you go off to the right there, kind of overlooking the San Diego Bay and downtown. 2 distinct restaurant zones, and both really, really good. Lots of just really great, just really, really good energy and vibes there. Another difference I can think of is that Coronado has a golf course, Imperial Beach doesn't. And then just overall, let's just be honest about it, Coronado's taken this one. We don't have to think about it too much longer. Yes, you have to be able to afford it, and I understand that is definitely an issue when Coronado has a multi-million-dollar median price point. So that is the differentiator, right? So if you can comfortably afford Coronado, you're probably not even considering Imperial Beach. While if you can not afford Coronado but can afford Imperial Beach, don't get me wrong, Imperial Beach is a place. I mean, I would love to own property in Imperial Beach. I don't. I look for investment property there all the time, and it's because it's desirable, it's growing. So I love that aspect of IB, like we call it. Overall, though, you're going to have a hard time finding too many more quaint towns, just beautifully like set up, all American type of feel, kind of take me back to the 1950s, just awesome energy like you're going to find in Coronado. In fact, no matter where you live in San Diego County, you want a staycation, go to Coronado. So for those reasons, Lauren, Coronado takes this round.
Next up, we have La Jolla versus Del Mar.
La Jolla and Del Mar, classic battle of the Titans. So, gosh, okay, let's start thinking through this. La Jolla has better proximity to the airport if you live closer to the La Jolla Shores part of La Jolla. If you live deep down and tucked into La Jolla or toward Bird Rock, it can take you quite a long time to get out. So from that perspective, I actually think Del Mar, despite being physically further away from the airport, has better proximity to it just because it's more dependable that you could get there faster, get onto the freeway much more quickly from most of Del Mar compared to from only parts of La Jolla. Now, from a name recognition standpoint, and I haven't gone there with any of these other matchups, but these are kind of big names, and so La Jolla definitely has more cachet. La Jolla has more tourists, however, to Del Mar. Del Mar doesn't have nearly the tourist load that La Jolla has, though Del Mar also has its tourists, no question about it, especially during the race season, when now there's two race seasons. There's the summer race season and the fall race season, so there's positives and minuses to that, right? There's the fact that brings fun, it brings excitement, it brings action and people, and that's beautiful and wonderful, and at the same time, it brings a little bit of traffic and, all those sorts of things. It depends on how you're wired. I kind of, in this case, with that crowd and that energy and the fact that they're there and the gambling, I love it. So for me, that's the type of tourist and crowd that I actually want to be around. So I like that about Del Mar. La Jolla versus Del Mar. Gosh, real estate prices are, really similar, so you're not going to get really an advantage one way or another in that respect. Though La Jolla, if you're looking lower prices, there will be more options because there's so much more real estate. But of course, its high end is going to be out there, and like for like property, it's going to be really, really similar. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there, Lauren, and I think it's going to be because my favorite beach is located in one of these two locations. There's so many similarities between the two. I mean, before I even give you the verdict here, let me tell you that my favorite Bloody Mary and kind of sunset spot to have a burger is in La Jolla. That's George's at the Cove. Love that place. There's not quite anything like being over on Prospect Street, going to La Valencia Hotel, getting a whaler. It's a classic drink they have there, and just watching and being over the Cove. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing when you're there. But I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to Del Mar. I just find it more livable, easier to get in and out of, and I think I'm gonna give it to La Jolla. I always thought I liked Del Mar better, but the location, the travel in and out. Man, I traditionally would have gone with Del Mar here. It's just that the best of La Jolla is the best. Okay, the best of La Jolla is gonna be the best. It has the comedy store. There's more to do. I'm going with La Jolla. I got almost won over by the beach in Del Mar, which is my favorite beach, one of the best surf breaks around, and the just ease of coming in and out. But you know what? If I'm going to live somewhere between these two places, I need to be entertained. La Jolla has it for me. What's our next matchup?
Next up, we got Solana Beach versus Encinitas.
Solana Beach and Encinitas. That's an interesting one. Though I think I'm pretty clear on which of the two I would prefer. So Encinitas, it's anchored around, it's like, right, the main street right there off the 101. And I mean, the 101 runs right through Solana Beach as well. They both have great real estate. They both have all those things. But at the end of the day, most of Encinitas does actually not give me a beach feel. And this is about beach towns. Encinitas travels all the way east in through Olivenhain. And by the way, on this channel, in fact, right here, if you see right here above my finger, I have this video that you can check out all about Olivenhain, and it's awesome, okay? But The thing about Eliminhain and most of Encinitas is that it's really just very suburban, and in Eliminhain's case, almost rural. And that's cool because there's variety to that. But the main drag around across Encinitas, I find it like almost too busy. Kind of just, I don't know. There's something about it that I love being there, but I'm not trying to be there all day, every day, tomorrow as well. While Solana Beach has this just charm to it. It has, even though it's easy to get to, really easy to get to, it still has this like, hey, I'm kind of like tucked in here in this special little spot, and I know about this breakfast place, and that's where I get my coffee, and this is, I mean, it just has this absolute local feel to it that is awesome. Plus, it has an incredible music venue scene called the Belly Up. Make sure you check out the Belly Up, and you'll get some of the coolest performers that'll go to the Belly Up. It'll kind of blow your mind. You'll be like, how is this person playing here? And it just adds to all of what Solana Beach is. Plus, just some really great restaurants. One of my favorite Thai restaurants is there. One of my favorite breakfast spots is in Solana Beach. And I love the way that I can just zip into Del Mar if I want to do that. Or I can just go right up to Encinitas and do that as well. And so, you know what, Lauren? This round, I'm going Solana Beach over Encinitas.
All right, final one of round one. We have Carlsbad versus Oceanside.
Carlsbad versus Oceanside. Cool. So, look. Carlsbad, traditionally superior. Just is. The real estate values have always been better. There's been more restaurants. There's been more to do. The schools have been better. There's a lot that has traditionally been better about Carlsbad. But if you watched on this channel the feature we did, we have a feature on both, by the way, but you can see it because I've gone back and watched. And if you look at the just excitement level, the happiness of what it is when I'm in Oceanside, there's something about the way this place is developing. It's changing. The restaurants that are coming in. I mean, you're talking that there's suddenly like restaurants being talked about as, hey, is this a Michelin star, quality restaurant? Like that's what's happening in Oceanside. The pier, which unfortunately had a huge burn not long ago, but renovated. Oceanside, man, I am going to give the nod to it over Carlsbad because Oceanside, at the end of the day, I feel like the community is really rallying around the fact that, hey, we're an easy place to do business in. We're not as cumbersome in terms of all the crazy rules on development and on business and on, all the things that go on in San Diego County and in California, let's just say. In California, San Diego County is the best of it, okay? But in California, and Oceanside just has this, like, we are progressive with business, with development, and we are just friendly to anything that makes sense. We want to grow. There's breweries going in. There's coffee shops going in. Real estate values are popping. It's friendlier to Airbnbs, so you can actually run your business. Real estate investment opportunities. Carlsbad, I think, got sleepy at the wheel. Said, hey, our big brother over there north of us, Oceanside, they're never catching up. You know what happened? They caught up. Oceanside takes it. All right, guys, so that is round one. We are moving on to round two. You've heard my analysis on most of these areas, so I'm going to give you a shorter, quicker hitting, why one versus the other. We're going to bang out round two, go to round three, declare our winners. So with that, Lauren, what is our first round two matchup?
Pacific Beach versus Point Loma.
Pacific Beach versus Point Loma. Wow. Okay, so it's getting more interesting now. Now, Pacific Beach, Mission Beach, they're right next to each other. Carlsbad, Oceanside, right next to each other. Now we're in Pacific Beach versus Point Loma. Which one would I prefer to live in? This is simple. I already give you all the reasons. I like Point Loma over Pacific Beach to live in. I'm going to get faster proximity to downtown. I feel like I can get to the freeway easier from most of Point Loma. Not all of it, but most of it. It has the wooded area of Point Loma, actually, and coincidentally, the hardest to get to the freeway from, but so darn beautiful. I mean, beauty that will rival, you name it, right? Like just incredible. And we haven't even mentioned, I didn't mention this last time around, I didn't mention Liberty Station, which is one of the coolest spots in San Diego County. Every neighborhood should have a Liberty Station, but only one does. It's Point Loma, and it's Point Loma versus Pacific Beach. I say keep me away from those beach bums. That ain't me. I'm more of a city guy. I'm going Point Loma.
All right, next up we have Coronado versus La Jolla.
Coronado versus La Jolla. So Coronado versus La Jolla. Two heavyweights. La Jolla's already survived against Del Mar. Which would I prefer to live in? Coronado versus La Jolla. You know, at the end of the day, I know who I'm going to give the nod to. And La Jolla survived despite its access issues over Del Mar just because of how much there is to do. But boy, I hate being stuck in traffic. And can Coronado get some traffic from time to time? Sure. But nothing like a La Jolla as consistently as it does. For me, just the kind of, again, I've said this before, but that like 4th of July, you know, all-American feel of Coronado with that military base there, but you don't somehow feel it on a day-to-day, but you know it's there. It makes you feel good that it is. And you have restaurants, you have entertainment, and you have beautiful, expansive beaches, fire pits along the beach. I am going to give the nod. If I had to choose one place to live in, Lauren, I love the fact that it's flat. You could ride your bike. So few parts of San Diego are flat. And I'm a mountain guy. You know that about me. I'm a climber. But I love the fact I can have that all-American stroll in Coronado. Coronado takes it over La Jolla. Put them in round 3.
Last up, we have Solana Beach versus Oceanside.
Solana Beach versus Oceanside. Oof, okay. Well, simple. I don't even know why I said oof. That's Solana Beach all day long, baby. That is Solana Beach. Solana Beach is a special place, okay? And in fact, we have done you wrong not having a Solana Beach feature, but by the time you see this video, you're going to have a Solana Beach feature, probably depending on when you're watching it, because Solana Beach is just a badass place. It has beautiful real estate. You want anything from condo living to like a mansion. You know, sure, Solana Beach. You want to be cliffront on the ocean or kind of tucked into a more woodsy type of area, Solana Beach. You want access to get to the beaches north of you and south of you with really no struggle, Solana Beach. You want great taco shops, Solana Beach. You want great sushi, guess what I was about to say. And it's the spot for me. See, ultimately, Lauren, I love San Diego County so much. I do love that in Oceanside you can get north to Orange County, get to LA. But you know what? If I wanted to be there, I'd live there. I like that Solana Beach is a beautiful jumping off point while still a truly quaint beach town. Right in a wonderful location, kind of very central within San Diego County. Ultimately speaking, of course, it's more tilted north, but anyway, put them in the final. Solana Beach moves on. All right, so here we are. We are now at the moment of truth where we have to take our top 3. We have the remaining Solana Beach, Coronado, Point Loma. That's who's still on the table, still alive. And now we have to put them in order from 3rd to 2nd. And ultimately crown a winner at number 1 beach town to live in San Diego County, per the one true authority. Okay, so, all right, between these 3, we're going to go in 3rd place in the Speech Royal Rumble, SummerSlam. Any other names? I'm not a wrestling fan either. Those are the only ones. Those are the only 2 ones I know. In the 3rd spot, coming in at number 3 is Point Loma. It is awesome. It's beautiful. It has great food. You know, it has Cabrillo National Monument, for God's sake, which we haven't mentioned. But we're talking about versus Solana Beach and Coronado. So at number 3, Point Loma. At number 2, and by the way, I had to literally come off camera moment. I had to do an edit. I had to have a conversation here on the side. I'm like, which one's going to be my winner? Because they're both so great. Coming in the number 2 spot. Or why don't we have a little more fun with it? Because obviously, I'm going to give you the number 1 spot, which then you'll know the other one's number 2. Coming in the number 1 spot, the number 1 beach town to live in San Diego County, per yours truly, I have to give it to Coronado. And it's because, like Lauren said to me off camera a moment ago, it is truly the dream. Coronado is like, holy heck, where are we? This is just like, is this San Diego County still? Where are we? Coronado is a special place. Make sure you go. experience the Hotel Del, experience the restaurants up and down Orange. Go and just walk the neighborhoods. Look at the real estate. You'll find homes built in the 1800s. There's just character there that you cannot find in most of San Diego County, and surrounded by water. You get to zip down to Imperial Beach and up to, if you want to visit Mexico, even into Tijuana. And yes, it's a place to visit. I'm going to take you there on this channel sometime. But you also get, and this was ultimately, Lauren, what clicked it for me, you get to just zip right up to downtown San Diego and suddenly be in an urban environment from being in one of the most beautiful suburbs, maybe in America. And all of a sudden, though, you just zip up that Coronado Bridge. You're into downtown San Diego. You're enjoying a ball game over at Petco Park, watching the Padres. You're going to restaurants. You're going to the theater. It is hard to beat Coronado. That's my winner. Solana Beach, I love you. You're number 2, and that is an amazing place to be among a ton of iconic, beautiful locations across our coastline. I hope you've enjoyed this video. By the way, I'm Dan Beer with Beer Home Team at eXp Realty, ready to help you make a smooth move, and we'll see you on the next video.